I think it's part of human nature that we want to try to understand things. We want to understand the meaning of our life, our existence. We want to understand the things that we are experiencing. Now, some of us may be more afflicted with this questioning curiosity than others, but I think most of us are uncomfortable with confusion. We want our head around what's going on around us. And maybe the evidence of this can be found in remembering some time in a relationship with someone you love where you didn't understand why they were saying what they were saying or why they were doing what they were doing. How comfortable were you at that moment? Didn't you maybe think, as I think, if I could only get my head around what it is they're trying to say and do here, I could deal with it, whatever it is. We want to understand. And I think that's also true in our relationship with God. There seems to be a lot about God that is confusing, things that we don't understand. There's this old joke. It says that if you ask the doctor what is causing something and he doesn't know the answer, he'll tell you it's a virus. And if you ask a priest a question and he doesn't know the answer, he's going to tell you it's a mystery. Maybe that will happen again later today. We want to know what is going on. Mystery, much of what we know about God is mystery. Much of what we know about God we can't get our heads around. We can't really understand it. It's proof, I think, of what we heard God saying through Isaiah in that first reading. He says, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways. As high as the heavens are above earth, so my ways are above your ways, my thoughts are above your thoughts." This is simple truth. This is God speaking simple truth to us, and he does it without apology. He says, God is God, and God reminds us that we're not. Yet we still try to understand God. We want to be able to define God. We want to get our head around who God is. There was a preacher once who said, "In the beginning, God created man and woman in his image, and ever since we've been trying to return the favor. We create God in our image. We create God in our own likeness." That's our tendency. We try to define God in human terms because that's what we know. Now the problem with that is we make God small. When we do that, we make God our size, human size. Instead of the uncertainty of mystery, we make God small, make God have our limitations. I remember a time when I was preaching this gospel. I was a deacon a long time ago. I was a deacon at a parish down in Dayton, and it was like one of the second, third, fourth times I was preaching to a parish community. I was nervous as could be, as you would expect, and I overcompensated by over-preparing as I intend to do. And I remember nothing about what I said during that homily. It was probably as unforgettable to everyone else as it is to me, but I have a very distinct memory. Because as we came down, the priest and I came down and we started to process out, a man got up over here on this side, never took his eyes off me, made a beeline to the corner and met us right there at the end of the aisle. It's as if he's trying to cut off my escape. He met me right there, and he started then and there at the end of the aisle to let me have it. He started reading the riot act to me about what I said. Now, he said, I run a small business. If I manage my business like this, we would be out of business in no time. He said, how can you possibly be preaching this gospel? He said if he did this, he would have all kinds of problems with his employees. He said that the gospel promoted communism. And he said on and on for quite a while. And as I said, I have no memory of what I preached that day, but I'm pretty sure I didn't preach about communism or labor relations or human resource management. But that's not the message of the gospel parable. Yet that is what the man heard. His very human ears, his mind full of very human concerns, he was unable to hear the good news. His thinking was too narrow, too earthbound, too human to understand what God was thinking and doing through this parable. This parable is about the very unhuman and unbelievable mystery of God's love for us. It's about unconditional, extravagant gift of grace that is pure love and mercy. Now, it can be hard for us to accept that anyone, even God, can love so completely and so purely because it is so foreign to our own experience. And the parable is about how God gives that grace unconditionally, that mercy unconditionally to everyone, even to those that we think that no one, not even God, should love. The parable demonstrates what Isaiah prophesies. God's thinking, God's ways are way above us. I believe this is what God is saying in this parable. I think God is saying to us, stop making me small. Stop placing your human limitations on who I am. You're not able to think the way I think, so please just accept and believe what I am saying. I don't care if you can't get your head around me and what I am thinking. Just know the truth of my love. I just want you to open your heart to believe and to accept it. That is what God is saying. The good news of this gospel is that God doesn't ask for our understanding. God doesn't care if the mysteries of faith blow our mind. God only asks that we accept and that we believe and we receive into our hearts the love that God wants to give us. God wants to fill our hearts overflowingly with the love that cannot be contained. He wants to fill our hearts so full of love that our hearts explode as it goes out and we give love to one another. That's the desire of God. God gives us this love. He wants that love to go out so we can love the people that we live with, but we can also love the widows and the orphans, those who are poor, those who are oppressed. He wants us to be able to then love the stranger in our midst. He wants us to love the one that we want to call our enemy. He says we should love the one that we think of as other politically, other ideologically, other race, another ethnicity, other ecclesiology, others who think about church and worship in a way different than us. The love of God comes to us in full abundance so that we can find a way in our heart to love all, to love those who are other than us. That's what this parable is about. That's what the preaching of Jesus is always about. That's what the shedding of Jesus' blood on the cross is about. It's God saying, open your heart, accept my love and mercy without cost, without condition, and when you do, you will be able to join with me. You will be able to be in communion with me in loving all others. May the good news today get past our confused little minds and find a home in a heart that has been made large by the love of God.